All right. Thank you all for joining today, and thank you to the parents who are watching for tuning in to see this virtual parent workshop. I'm Bethany Wenger. I'm the school liaison with the Howard County Health Department. I am here to facilitate this workshop and help these curriculum developers and facilitators to present the information that they're going to be sharing and presenting in the schools to you all. So just a little bit about what this workshop is. This workshop is designed to talk about the mental health resiliency initiative, which the Howard County Health Department is doing in conjunction with the schools to get these Indiana employability skills, standards, and competencies delivered to your students. So these workshops that the health department has partnered with the schools to implement are divided into 4 different grade categories. So we've got kindergarten through 2nd grade, 3rd through 5th grade, 6th through 8th grade, and then 9th through 12th grade. And like I said, all of these workshops were designed and are going to be delivered in alignment with the Indiana skills, competencies, Indiana employability skills, competencies, and standards that were delivered from the state. So what you can expect from this workshop is to meet all of the curriculum developers and instructors who are here with us today. You'll get a chance to kind of participate virtually in the workshops that these instructors are going to be delivering in the schools by going through their presentations, getting a feel for what the curriculum is about and how it's going to be presented to the students who are participating. And at the end, there will be a link to a survey for you guys if you have any questions or feedback, additional comments that you want to leave or need any clarification. I invite you all to scan the QR code at the end and complete that survey. You'll also find my contact information on that in that closing piece. So if you have any questions for me, you can find my email address there as well. So the schools that are participating in this program are Taylor, Northwestern, and Western schools, school corporations. And like I said, it covers all of the grade levels from kindergarten through 12th grade. However, it will be an a la carte kind of basis. So schools can pick and choose which workshops they want to offer to the students and when they want to schedule those. So not all of what you see and hear today might be offered to your students depending on what school they're at, but we wanted to make all of the information available to you to give you talking points if you would like to see some of these implemented in your schools, if you would like your students to participate in these, you'll kind of have a feel for what all is available. So, and then in addition to that, before any workshops are presented to your students or your students participate in any of these workshops, there will be parent permission slips, and you'll have that communication with the schools before your student sees any of this. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Allison and let her talk about the Purdue Hero Storytime curriculum.
Fantastic. Thank you. So like Bethany said, my name is Allison Hillis, and I am the Health and Human Sciences Extension Educator with Purdue Extension here in Howard County. I am very excited to share with you about Hero Storytime, which stands for Helping Every Child Reach Optimum Success. So what this is that this is basically it's a reading program. So there will be 4 storybooks that have been selected for this particular program that really promote healthy character development for young children. So grades K through 2. It is based in the 40 developmental assets, which I will speak a little bit more on in just a moment. And the goal is that we support educators and community members to be able to help children develop appropriate skills, healthy development, and then also through activities. So it's not just going to be reading the books, but there's going to be some activities that go along with it to help further the development of the 40 developmental assets. Another critical component to this is going to be a family newsletter that goes home for each book. So that way you can be absolutely involved with helping your kiddos develop and healthy developmental skills. So this particular program was actually developed here in Howard County, which I'm very pleased to be able to share. So it started several years ago with the Child Care Resource and Referral that was here in Howard County in collaboration with the Family Service Association. Once I moved over to Purdue Extension for my career, Purdue Extension looked at it and viewed it as something that was really important and a good program, and they have picked up on it. So that's where Purdue Extension got involved with it. The question of how do we build strong children, we really looked at some research-based information, and we came across it. Actually, the person that I co-wrote it with from the Family Service Association knew about the 40 developmental assets. And these 40 developmental assets are really some building blocks, as you see on your screen, for building successful students. And they're not just available for young children, but they really have 40 developmental assets for all the way from growing up. The 40 developmental assets are from the Search Institute. So this is an independent nonprofit agency whose work really has at the heart positive experiences, relationships, opportunities, and personal qualities that young people need to grow up healthy, caring, and responsible. And it's been around since the 1990s. So this is something that's been researched and has been shown to be true and effective for all children. Within the 40 developmental assets, you will see that there are different categories with it. So there's external assets of support, empowerment, boundaries and expectations, and constructive use of time. And then there's 4 internal assets for each individual, which are the commitment to learning, positive values and social competencies, and then positive identity. So within each of those areas, that's where it breaks out into 40 different assets. So external assets really look at the people that are in our lives, the places where we might go. So school, churches, community programs, sporting events, and then also the activities. So Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, mentoring programs, sports, dance, creative arts. So it's the things that are outside of ourselves that we look at for the external assets. Internal assets are the choices that children make. So as families and stakeholders and educators, our work focuses on the assets which outline the relationships and experiences and expectations that young people need to thrive. And those are primarily the external assets, but we also can cultivate the internal assets. So fostering honesty, responsibility, personal power, and interpersonal skills through schools. The goal is that we work to create productive citizens, and we know that it takes not just you as the families, but it takes a team in order to really help develop positive life skills. And that's where Hero Storytime can help support you and the teachers in doing that. So it's designed to teach and strengthen positive character skill development for children by embedding a sense of power, self-esteem, exemplified by truly everyday characters that can resonate with children. So each story in the Hero Storytime program has a superpower. We label it a superpower for the asset that it goes with. Then it also has creative activities that have been coordinated with the stories to emphasize the assets through a student's day. Like I mentioned, newsletters for families are also shared throughout the different reading programs. And then it really also looks to highlight safe, healthy behaviors that can be essential for those life skill development pieces. As we move into a couple of the different handouts that are available, there is a reading guide. So within each reading guide, there are discussion question opportunities. And these are all available. I can share the link for you. So if you want to access them as a family, you absolutely can. These are all available on the Purdue website. There's discussion questions, so that way it goes more than just reading the story. It can be talking about how the story works. Looks at activity ideas. So over on the right side of the page are the activity ideas. There's a flying higher statement, and that's an opportunity to truly take the thought and the concept that is proposed and shared within that asset for that book. And how do you help your kiddos expand that opportunity and that learning. And then you see the superpower identified for each individual book. The family newsletter will feature each book, so that way you will see the title, the author, a little bit about the asset or the superpower that it addressed. And then there's a think about it section. And so within that section, that identifies some ways that you can help support your child's development at home within this, and making it fit and making it work for your family culture. Then you also have the superpower, so that way you can see that directly as well. And then there's a link to the 40 developmental assets, because we want to make sure that we share that with you. And if you would like, there are some supplemental readings, many of which are available at the library. The whole Here is Storytime curriculum has 4 or 8 books altogether. So these are the 8 superpowers or developmental assets that are identified for each of the books. So there's positive family communication, positive peer relationships, caring and empathy, self-regulation, interpersonal skills, peaceful conflict resolution, personal power, and self-esteem. For this particular program, these 4 assets have been identified based on the survey and the feedback received by the health department. So the first one was looking at independence, successfully carrying out expectations with mental supervision, also looking at adaptability. So looking at how kiddos can manage transitions and adjustments to changing situations, perseverance, and then also regulation. So how do we manage one's emotions? So with those in mind, books that have been pulled out for this program include I Am Enough by Grace Byers. And this one has the superpower of self-esteem. So believing that we are capable can also lead to independence for starting or finishing tasks. The next book is How Do Dinosaurs Say I'm Mad? And this addresses the superpower of self-regulation. So connecting with our emotions and how do we learn to manage those. Lacey Walker, Nonstop Talker. So this book connects with the adaptability competency. Lacey ends up losing her voice, and she is very accustomed to talking. Sometimes she ends up talking a lot. And with losing her voice, she has to learn to adapt to how she goes about her day, using different ways to communicate, and also focusing on different parts of communication, such as listening. And the 4th book is Stand Tall, Molly v. Mellon. And this book really connects with perseverance. Molly can be seen trying different activities and skills throughout the book, and not all of them are easy tasks that she has to do. So with that, I would like to say thank you for joining us for this particular bit, and I will turn it back over to Bethany.
Allison, thank you so much for sharing. And we can go ahead and let Carla go ahead and take the lead with grades 3 through 5.
Okay, thank you. So yes, thank you so much for having me, Bethany. This has been a super exciting partnership and project to work on. My name is Carla Biro. I am working with Howard County, creating the elementary grades 3 through 5 curriculum focus. I'm looking at how do we support students from that day they step into the classroom, and how do we send them off well in the summer. So I'm just going to go through exactly kind of the why and the focus of this work, but also just some key resources and pieces that you'll see embedded that should not only help you as a parent, but you can also see how many of those skills will be transferable skills and just things that you can reiterate for yourself at home and to help support your child in the classroom. So we're going to go through some stats. I'm going to stop a little bit and pause so you can think about some of these stats and just kind of wrap your mind around what some perceptions we may have, some beliefs we may have, and maybe some areas of growth that we need to look into so that we're able to best support our child's academic experience. I have been in education for over 21 years as a classroom teacher, an interventionist, and a building administrator. I do miss the students very much. I'm now in higher ed, and so this was an exciting opportunity for me to be able to jump in and just share some of the knowledge I've gained through the years, but also some of the knowledge I've gained from your school district leaders as well. So hopefully you will find some pieces you find that are familiar and help support maybe the foundation you already have and help increase and strengthen the partnership you already have with your child's school. So looking at what do we already know, knowing that students come in with a wealth of knowledge regarding classroom expectations, regarding appropriate behaviors and communicating with peers. How do we help solidify some of that information into their long-term memory so that they're consistently pulling from how they know and utilizing that to help them grow, not just academically, but socially, mentally, and increasing their ability to provide a psychologically safe environment for not just themselves, or maybe you at home, for the teachers and for their experience with their peers. So how much do you know about your child's classroom expectations? How do you know about, much do you know about your child's classroom management plan? What are the strategies teachers utilize to support positive student behavior? What framework do they utilize to help students learn from behavior that's not desired within the classroom? And the biggest piece here, how can you transfer some of that knowledge and some of those skills to the home environment? So this is where I say we're going to look at some of those stats. So what percentage of parents, yourself, understand their child's classroom expectations, particularly PRIDE? When you think about classroom expectations, there is a classroom management system called PRIDE that's embedded throughout Howard County schools. And how much exactly, as a parent, do you know about this particular system? And what are the strategies specifically teachers utilize to help support this classroom management within the academic environment? So thinking about that for a second, what percentage of parents understand their child's classroom expectations? The answer is only 11%. And only 11% really have their mind wrapped around exactly what is expected from my child in regards to academic, social, behavior performance. Okay. However, 90% of parents actually believe they are confident in how their child is, how they're doing in school. They are confident in their, and is this based on the academic grades? For years, we just really focused on, is my child earning A's and B's? But we know that a child can do very well academically, but still have some of those behavioral, some social concerns, and some other pieces that really help support their ability to be lifelong learners and to be productive citizens of society. So that's kind of the framework around this. And so here's that piece where we discuss that acronym of PRIDE. PRIDE is the Positive Behavior Intervention System adopted from your child's school district. And this is a nationally known program that has documented success on student behavior and documented success on increased academic performance because these particular steps are implemented within the classroom and within the building as a whole. PRIDE, the acronym of PRIDE, and you can speak with your child about this. They can more than likely kind of reiterate some of these concepts with you. It stands for patience, respect, integrity, determination, and excellence. And so without this, throughout this curriculum, you will see how those particular vocabulary words are reiterated, reinforced, and supported to help support what your teacher's already doing, help with those transferable skills, and hopefully help you with some things that you are seeing at home that could use a bit more attention or focus or just some enhancement. So we hope that this session is kind of a collaborative piece, looking at some collective impact of it as we look at how do we iron out each facet of that PRIDE acronym. So the fall learning session, the goal of this is to kind of reiterate what teachers are already reviewing, or what they've already posted, what they've already shared with students when they start right at the beginning, building the foundation of how they'd like to carry out their learning experience within the classroom. So with this one, it just kind of removes the high expectations for teachers to solidify each piece of the Pride puzzle in their classroom, and helps to bring in some additional support with making sure students have a grasp on each Pride expectation, and that they understand, they have the applicable tools to know when to pull from those particular expectations. Okay, so it's kind of giving teachers the ability to move forward with academic concepts, understanding the percentage of knowledge that's lost over the summer, and move into their mastery of academic concepts, while we take on helping to support reiterating those classroom management strategies. And this one also helps with self-regulation, helping to support a productive academic learning experience. Teachers can maximize their academic instructional time, and then parents will actually gain tools and strategies throughout each session, not just this one here in the fall, but throughout each session that kind of transfers to that supporting a positive home environment. And there are always additional resources in each curriculum that we utilize. We'll look at some of those in the structure of that lesson here at the end. But these resources will not only help with reiterating these pieces in the home, but they will also help with measuring progress. So we can see exactly how is this information my child's learning at school, the teachers being supported with, and I'm receiving at home. How is this really helping to support my child academically, socially, emotionally? So here's another question to kind of help you sit and reflect and see the importance of these specific curriculum concepts. What percentage of households have a list of chores or home expectations? So when your child comes home every day, do they have a concept or kind of a guide of what is expected from them? Okay, and do they have the visual to support that? So they know. Often we feel like we tell our children over and over, but we are asking some of those same questions over and over again. So is this displayed somewhere in your home, or is it just a verbal communication that has been reiterated over and over again? And then sitting with that percentage number, what percent of households do you think already have this resource embedded into their home structure? Actually, it's only about 20%. About 20% have this embedded in their home. It's something that with my own children, I did really great at implementing towards the end of raising children. At the beginning, not so much. And I see the difference in just the flow and just the how my household, we work more collaborative when expectations are defined and they're visual, and we know what each person is expected to do. And here's a fun fact: 60% of those household chores and expectations are unpaid, as stated by many parents. So what that means is, if you're like, you know what, I'm not sure that I can embed this into these expectations into my home environment because I'm not able maybe to really fund the chores. But if you need just that assurance that not all parents are doing that, they're just putting those expectations at home, because we understand the other side of who we're trying to help mold and shape, and how we're trying to help them mold and shape our children into positive adults. So next piece here is our next section, and it is looking at kind of this summer slide. Teachers notice that after that winter break, even going into it, but it's particularly after, students come back with some of that learning loss, but what they really notice is that need for those class expectations, those behavior expectations with pride that were taught to them in the fall. There's this need to kind of reiterate that, utilizing current scenarios and current experiences in the classroom to determine, okay, how do we continue to apply what we've learned in the fall to where we are now, so that we can work on finishing the academic school year strong. So this session really goes into looking at those pride expectations, but also looking at relevant scenarios. Now students are in with expectations from homework. They have expectations with how they navigate through centers and how they navigate through their specials, and how do we utilize scenarios that are relevant to that practices and still uphold that acronym of pride. Okay, kind of again, taking that heavy lift off of teachers and coming in to really help support teachers, students and families into just making sure those behavior expectations are intact and are continuing to produce the positive results we're looking for. So here's another one here. And not a lot of meditating is needed on this one because you have the percentage there in front of you. So we are confronted with the challenge of student engagement in our classrooms, particularly in the winter months. Teachers report about 24% of students come back after that winter break disengaged and have that need for activities that really hyper focus on how do we get back to where we were with classroom expectations, with academic expectations, with the expectations of other staff and support in the building, and how do we as parents continue to support our students strong and help them finish out that academic year. So this mid-year session, kind of negating that mid-year slide, it provides teachers with an intentional time to rebuild a strong community, reestablishing those expectations before digging back heavily into academic concepts and giving students time to practice reacclimating to the classroom environment. That's not maybe something that's off our radar, but it is a huge concern, especially of educators who are looking to, okay, now we're prepping for the reality of standardized testing. How do I reemphasize those concepts to help support student learning moving forward? And you will notice during that session as well that there is some time for you to reevaluate how are things at home. As you embed pieces of the pride expectations in your home environment, are you witnessing a slide as well? And how do you gain strategies to help negate that, just as we will in the classroom? So here's another percentage stat to look at. What percentage of children are allowed to take their mobile device to bed with them? This one's also very interesting and just kind of gives a kind of reality check of where we are with technology. Because in this session, this is our last session, we are not only kind of leaving on a high note with those pride expectations, but we're looking at how do we take those expectations and transfer them into our summertime, particularly looking at screen times. This is a very important session as it not just gives you tools to help negate summer slide, but also it helps with how do you start putting some parameters around screen exposure, looking at the detriment on student behavior, on the psychological health of students. How do we utilize some strategies to negate that right at the beginning of the summer so that we can plan for what usually happens and negate kind of those things you see, those negative impacts of lost academic, lost behavior, social concerns that teachers are noting and you are noting when we get back to that classroom environment in the fall. So this survey, students surveyed, students parents surveyed were those that actually own a mobile device. I know children are grades 3 to 5. Some of them do not yet have the device, but the reality is over 50% of students in this age do. They do have their own mobile device. So what we're looking at here is 56% of students take their phone to bed with them at night, and 34% of students lose academic learning over the summer break due to their heightened screen time. So this slide is basically we're looking at helping students with resiliency and perseverance, okay, and understanding the benefits. So we help students to understand not just you need to put your phone down, you need to stop looking at your screen so much, you need to get off the social media or get off this game, and we help them understand the why. Students are more than likely to comply with expectations if they understand the why and the impacts and the detriments behind it. And yes, grades 3 through 5 are able to comprehend and kind of internalize the negative impact of heightened screen time. So students who gain strategies that support a reduction and enhance summer experiences, giving them some things to be excited about before they enter into that summer break. And this is the session that kind of concludes the parent evaluation. So you will have that tracking mechanism that you use starting in that first curriculum session to the end that will help kind of sit with that data and see how has your student grown at home, what are some strategies that were not there previously that have really helped support a more positive home environment, and what are some specific activities that you can utilize throughout the summer to continue to support your child and their development, but also to continue to prep them for what is next. So this is kind of a layout of what instructors will receive, what districts have received regarding the curriculum structure. You'll see kind of an overview of some things that we've already discussed during this presentation, a little bit about my background, if interested in that, but kind of this overview, detailed overview. And now when we develop schedules, these are things, of course, that will be adapted based on the needs of the students, the needs in the classroom. There may be things that we need to pivot, maybe shorten, things that need further explanation, and we'll note that as we continue to execute this curriculum in different school environments. Okay, so each one has the supporting stats as to why here and why not now. So why this specific curriculum topic at this point in the academic school year, giving some data to support the relevancy, and then it goes into those workshop specific, particularly the objectives. So we want instructors and as well as parents to understand this is what we hope that students will be able to do, kind of that level of mastery at the end of the lesson. So by the time this lesson is complete, this is what we hope students will learn. We are also really looking at the Indiana state standards and the employability skills. These are the skills that the state has defined as these are important to learn at this age level so that we can start building a foundation of what is needed to produce productive citizens in our within our society. And so you will see the kind of the outline structure of exactly what each lesson will include. There's a few tweaks here and there for grade level, understanding academic ability and understanding the need for different supports at different grade levels. Kind of the structure of there's always a pretest. So we want to know what students know, as you saw in the beginning, what do we know and how do we grow? We want to know exactly what do students know about pride, about the behavior management system, about the specific content we are seeking to kind of deliver to them. And that actually helps us with understanding, okay, this is what they know. So I can look at this to see, okay, how much do I need to emphasize certain concepts based on what students indicate as their knowledge level. There's always some one-on-one, some group activities, some collaborative team building activities, just different ways that they can practice relevant scenarios to help them really kind of internalize and digest those concepts that we are delivering. There is some informal and formal assessments, meaning that we have some ongoing, making sure students are engaged, they are with us, making sure they're grasping the concepts before we move on. And then that formal assessment at the end is really taking time to note, okay, how was this lesson? What are some things that might need to be tweaked? What piece of the lesson objectives have students mastered? And how can we utilize that information to continue to refine? We envision this will be something that is ongoing and will support students, not just this academic year, but academic years to come. And so those formal assessments will really help us with looking at what do we need to kind of revamp and look at differently as we structure these lessons moving forward. So there are, as indicated, there's a resource section at the end that will kind of give you an overview of the different assessments and surveys and feedback mechanisms that we'll use to support this. Here at the beginning, you'll see the with them in most curriculums, and that basically what's in it for me. Students want to know, not only are you a special guest here, but why are you here? What exactly is in this for me? And how can I immediately engage students and making sure they're excited about the content I am set to deliver. So sometimes we'll have a video, and in this one, the first one, we actually have a read aloud, just kind of helping students with some accountability and self-reflection starting off at the beginning so they see the need of why we are going through these specific lessons. And then we go through some review of what's already done in the classroom, and then we start to build, okay? Building on vocabulary that is related to not just pride, but also to the content subject that we're looking to deliver. Having students say things out loud, explain what they're learning, name it. So, and even when we name it, we look at how can we know that they have not just mastered it, but they're able to teach someone and explain to someone and name exactly what they've been asked to do within the lesson. And just some final pieces that really help solidify the concepts, some games that keep them engaged to the very end. and some ways to really internalize it as we get ready toward concluding that lesson to ensure they actually have grasped those concepts. So yeah, these are just a layout of exactly what are we doing within each activity. You'll see there are a lot of activities, but you'll note that they are developed in a way that we have those heavy content concepts at the beginning, some of the games and review and practice activities at the end. If we need to pivot or need to spend more time on those months earlier, we have the capacity to do that. And then you will note at the very end, looking at two pieces, activities where students understand not just the impact on themselves, but on the impact on others with utilizing these concepts. And then there's these transferable skills is what I wanted to look at. And so we'll look at scenarios that are related to not just the classroom behavior expectations, but expectations that may be at home, and how do they approach that and look at that differently, and what's their accountability in the different expectations that are given to them from you at home as the parent. And as I indicated, there is a post-test at the end of all lessons. Also a school to home connection. Parent night, this resource is here just because we were working through developing a parent night where we could potentially meet in person and you could ask more questions, but I'm always available to do that moving forward. There's a teacher assessment rubric, so teachers can as well give us feedback on what was relevant, what are students able to readily embed, and what are some pieces they need for us to tweak or probably consider moving forward. And I believe that is it. And this is your resource section. One last document I would like to show is that parent to home communication. This is kind of an overview of the partnership we've detailed within this conversation with Howard County and with others in the community, including myself with Beautifully Biro Consulting. But here is kind of that rubric that I was trying to share with you, just so you can look at kind of the focus of what we're trying to reiterate in the classroom and how this should transfer into the home environment. Many of these pieces. So looking at responsibility, interrupting others at home, same with at home, in school, same with at home. How is that being handled at home, and what are some strategies you can utilize from the classroom to support improvement in this area? And you will kind of take a similar assessment such as this one at the end of every curriculum lesson. And then there's kind of a parent questionnaire, and this piece is not just for measurement of data, but it also is an opportunity for you to give information to your child's teacher about how you handle behavior management in your home, okay? And how can they support you and how you can support them as well, okay? So that was quite a bit to internalize. As indicated, I am available. You can message me anytime. beautifullybyro@gmail.com is my email address. Howard County Health Department, Bethany especially, can contact me if there's any questions or concern. If you'd like more information on the other two curriculums moving forward, the mid-year slide as well as the screen time session, I'll be happy to provide those for you.
Thank you so much, Carla. That was wonderfully done. And as you guys can see, the K through 2 and 3 through 5 curriculums both have a very heavy emphasis on that school-home connection and how they can best engage the students, the teachers, and you guys as the parents to all be involved and have this open dialogue to help support the students at the end of the day to grow into successful adults. So thank you again, Carla. And with that, I'll go ahead and let Kalina introduce her curriculums. Kalina is working on curriculums for grades 6 through 8 and also 9 through 12. So with that, Kalina, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. You guys can hear me okay? Perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone. Again, my name is Kalina James, and I am thrilled to introduce myself as the curriculum developer for the Howard County School Corporations for grades 6 through 12. So as an adjunct professor at Indiana Wesleyan University, I bring a wealth of academic experience to this role. So in addition to my work in academia, I run a private practice as an executive leadership development coach and consultant where I utilize my skills to enhance leadership capabilities in the professional realm. And so prior to this, I served as the business transition trainer for the state of Indiana Department of Workforce Development. And during my tenure, I designed soft skills employability learning plans for over 1,200 employees throughout the entire state, honing my expertise in curriculum development and employee training. And so I am extremely eager to bring my diverse experience and dedication to fostering learning and growth in our community. And so we're extremely excited, as you can probably already see and hear, to share innovative classroom learning and workshops today with you. And so these workshops that you see here offer an array of opportunities for students to engage and cultivate vital soft skills that are tailored to be age appropriate and crucial for future employability. And so our community has been very instrumental in this creative process. And by working for them, with them, and as part of our community, we've developed content that is extremely rich in resources. And so you'll see on the presentations here that, as we've already spoken, and I will reiterate, is that the curriculum aligns with the Indiana employability standards and capabilities. And so the Indiana Department of Education's employability skills and standards implementation guide was used as an extremely valuable resource for effectively incorporating required age level soft skills interpersonal leadership training into the curriculum. And so in the curriculum that I have provided, there is a link to take you exactly to this PDF document that breaks down what Carla provided to you, age by age appropriate curriculum that they are wanting us to incorporate into the curriculum for their academic journey, but also their employability journey. And so the workshops promote, again, academic achievement while highlighting significance of cultivating interpersonal leadership skills in our students. And so with that being said, I'll move on to the next slide here. And as you can see, for 6th through 8th grade, we have 3 workshops. We've got levels of listening and regulation. We have effective communication and listenings and let me say that again, effective communication, levels of listening, and interpersonal leadership. And then finally, for the grades 6 through 8th, we have perseverance, resilience, and independence. And as you can see, levels of listening and regulation, we've created this course for essential communication skills for our young learners to introduce them to 4 interactive lessons that will break down what listening is all about. And then they move on to effective communication with also the extension of levels of listening, as well as looking at it from an interpersonal leadership perspective point of view, where this particular skill or this particular 4 workshops let me start all over. The program for this particular workshop is broken down into 4 interactive lessons. And so I'll say that again, all of the workshops that you're going to see today are broken into 4 20-minute segments. And so for this particular segment, the effective communication, levels of listening, interpersonal leadership, this is where your learners will learn interpersonal communication skills to become effective leaders. We take listening to a deeper level. In other words, there is that subjective listening and active listening and intuitive listening so that they can better understand to be understood. And then we move on to the last course or the last workshop, and that is perseverance, resilience, and independence. This middle school course teaches students important life skills through interactive lessons. So when you're looking at 6th through 8th grade, we understood and we are learning through the collaboration with the community that this grade really works well when it's role playing and where they can actively participate in the learning so that they can immerse themselves into understanding. And so each of the courses for 6th through 8th grade are essentially role play. It offers them an opportunity to not be on display, but gives them a chance with their peers to experience what it's like to really hear and to be understood, and also to cultivate their own ability to have interpersonal leaderships about what they're saying and how they're coming across. But perseverance and resiliency at this particular age is really important as they charter into middle school as well as into high school. But it gives them an entry point perspective of what it really means to have perseverance and resiliency. And as we move on, we're going to look at what 9th through 10th grade will encounter or experience. And here you see effective communication, levels of listening, and interpersonal leadership. This is, I say, 2.0, where a 6th through 8th grader will now have an opportunity next year to experience, as an 8th grade going to 9th and 10th. This workshop here is going to focus on developing more interpersonal leadership skills where we're going to look at including conflict resolution and how students can participate in collaborative activities to improve teamwork ability. And then we're going to move on to perseverance and resilience and independence, where this is mastering communication, the art of conflict resolution, as well as deeper engagement into teamwork and their leadership skills about how they can not only look at their efforts as their career goals, but also their academic goals. Because this is the age where they're going to be looking at high school and looking at post-high school. And so it's a really cool course that really allows them to see their ability, their strengths, their ability to champion their own strengths internally so that they can, achieve the best for themselves. And so as we move on from 9th to 10th grade, you're going to look at a deeper dive for 11th and 12th grade when it comes to the same course, effective communication, levels of listening. This is where they get the opportunity to master, I call it emotional intelligence around not only what is happening with them, but how they can take their current high school academia opportunities into post high school. They're going to be looking more about their careers, about their leadership, about their college choices, their work experiences, and all of the different activities that are being introduced or scenarios are going to allow them to have a private place or a secure place or a comfortable place that they can really begin to learn and lean in to each other's learning. And so, as you may or may not already know, but 11th and 12th graders really enjoy just listening and becoming more aware of what's around them and listening to others around them, and also taking participation into discussions and giving them an opportunity to walk away with bonus activities where they can job shadow or engage in interview process or talk to their parents or engage in areas where in their work environments they get to really put some of these skills into practice. And perseverance and resilience is really important at this age. This is where a lot's going on. They're experiencing a big transition. And it's important to support them in that journey of knowing that they can have a growth mindset and that they can look for the learning in opportunities, as well as use these strategies for post-high school to be able to continue their college and career goals are going to be covered in this second here, this particular workshop here. I do think it's important to bring to your awareness the transparency truly is indeed the cornerstone of our approach, as you have already been able to see here by the display of the content that has been provided. It was imperative for us to eliminate any assumptions or potential misinterpretations. As such, we meticulously established clear learning objectives for each module and workshop, detailing the employability skills and standards that will be met through the training. So for example, in every workshop on each module, you will see specifically what standards are being met and what we're specifically aiming for in those learning objectives in order to support our young learners in their career success. And so with that being said, I think it's important that you'll see the facilitator guidelines and instructions. We even went a step further to ensure this transparency by providing a minute-by-minute detailed instructions to facilitators in the future that are going to deliver this content, that these comprehensive guidelines serve as a roadmap for both our current and our future instructors, ensuring consistency and accuracy delivering the content. In addition, our community played a very active role in vetting and selecting training videos, and these pre-approved resources reflect our collective commitment to providing the most relevant and impactful learning experiences for our students. And so in the beginning, we offered our community a ton of resources with the intention of contextualizing it to meet the specific needs of our community. And in doing so, we were able to take that feedback and continue to tailor it to meet each corporation's expectations. And so with that, we also provided a comprehensive view into the classroom. We provided each particular workshop a facilitator script. These scripts allow parents, administrators, and school corporations to understand precisely what is being communicated to our students. And furthermore, they incorporate real-world, age-appropriate role-play scenarios that hone employability skills and capabilities as well. I think it's important to also know, in addition to the workshop activities, we've developed small assessments or quizzes that evaluate or serve as a checkpoint to ensure understanding and to measure the effectiveness of our content as we move forward with it. Transparency extends beyond the classroom and it forms the foundation of our trust and mutual understanding between all of our stakeholders. And we have made a concerted effort to ensure that our material remains appropriate, useful, and accessible for years to come. And our ultimate goal at the end of the day was to equip every student with the necessary skills for success. And we believe transparency is the key to achieving this objective. And so with that being said, here again, is a look-see of all of the curriculum that is coming to your school corporation, giving your students an opportunity to be able to enjoy the learning that's coming that partners along their academic journey as well as their future career successes. And so we, at the end of the day, we encourage our parents to review and familiarize themselves with the resources. That way, they can fully understand the exciting learning opportunities that their young adults will be invited to participate in. Because together, we're really working towards equipping our students with the necessary skills for a successful future. And we truly want to thank you for coming alongside of us in this journey to partner with us so that we can contextualize content for our community, with our community, and by our community. And thank you so much. Bethany.
Thank you so much, Kalina. That was a wonderful, comprehensive look into all of the different curriculums that you have created. So if I didn't mention this before in this workshop, Kalina and Carla, obviously, as they've stated, have gone to work to develop these curriculums from the ground up. So thank you so much for all of the hard work that you've put in and all the collaboration that you have invested into working with the schools and with the community and with us at the health department to create these curriculums. So next, I will pass it on to Jen Ogle, who's going to be telling us about a curriculum that is already pre-developed by Stanford University with a target of reducing and eliminating the use of tobacco, nicotine, electronic cigarette, electronic, vaping, everything under that umbrella. That's what the Stanford curriculum is going to target with the students who are able to participate. So with that, I will go ahead and let Jen tell us about the Vape Free.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jennifer Ogle. I am the program manager for Howard County Tobacco and Vape Free. Just a few questions for everybody here in the audience today. I know everybody's heard of traditional cigarettes and, of course, the popularity since 2017 of the e-cigarettes and Juuls. And when I use those terms, Juul or e-cigarettes, it's going to just encompass all of those products that contain the tobacco and nicotine. One of the big misconceptions around vapes is that it's better or safer than traditional cigarettes like we had back in the 60s, 70s, and throughout history. But one of the big questions I always start off asking my parents and audience and grandparents, anybody who is a caretaker for young kids or even high school kids, is if they know how old it is, how old they have to be to purchase and use tobacco products. And that answer is 21. So when I go out and I do surveys and I do parent talks and throughout the community and throughout Howard County, there's a lot of misconception out there. They still think it's 18. And back in July of 2017, that was changed to actually match the date of alcohol to be the age of 21. So to start off with that, it is forbidden in the schools. It's forbidden obviously on school grounds, and it also is throughout Howard County. Howard County went completely tobacco free and vape free and in 2018. And that encompasses everything, everywhere from Rushville to Eastern to north and south of the county, in public places, at the fairgrounds, at community concerts in the parks, so that everybody has the right to breathe nicotine-free air. And with that being said, I just want to introduce to you what the curriculum is that we are going to be teaching the students at the schools here in Howard County because of so many misconceptions. Obviously, it is just been such a huge epidemic throughout the schools and for parents to battle this. So with that, not to recreate the wheel, we have worked together with REACH, which is the Youth Development and Resource Agency with Turning Point. So they work with middle schools and high schools students here throughout Howard County, and actually have a presence in those schools to help with any kind of mental health or addiction or behavior problems. And they are really amazing. And they will actually be the ones facilitating the curriculum that is developed by the Stanford Medical. The curriculum, just to give you an overview of it, is entitled The You and Me Together Vape Free. And it really targets the middle school, high school throughout 6 different lessons. Now, the REACH team has condensed those so that they fit within the boundaries of the classroom time that they have. So they have just taken some of the slides and condensed them for each lesson. And they are developed specifically around middle school and then also at the high school level. So there's different terminology and based on their knowledge. Each one contains activities, the quizzes and worksheets and other resources that these students will be bringing home to help educate the caregivers, the parents, anybody in these students' lives, because that's also gives you the knowledge to help your student with their nicotine or misconceptions, or if they are vaping, how to combat that. Also, within each of these class sessions are reinforced with the follow-up discussion guides. These are also open-ended questions for you to do with your youth outside of the home or inside the home with the trusted adults, with other peers, to start that discussion and to build that relationship and help them work through all their questions. Back in our day, most of the people would go to their friends for knowledge, and we want that knowledge to come from data, evidence-based research that we have provided for you. So to share that, I want to show you a little bit about the website here. This is where we got the toolkit from, the Stanford Medicine Prevention Toolkit. And this includes all these modules for middle schools and high schools that have been expanded and the curriculum was developed over. With the high school version, they contain lessons for what the potential is for your brain and what the effects of nicotine is on the developing brain, and then the effects of it on your body. And then also it covers lessons about the environment, and because it contains batteries and chemicals and what it does. Some people really care about the environment, and so there's different ways to actually reach people's knowledge and hearts on what's involved with these. The second part is also big marketing, big tobacco. The tobacco industry has been known to, the same players are making the e-cigarettes. So the Marlboro Lights, the Camel, those are all the big tobacco companies, and they have realized that the older generation with the traditional cigarettes, that's not appealing to the youth. So what they have done is a marketing genius, and now they target the youth and they advertise through the Instagram, through YouTube, through all their social media. As you know, those ads were banned from billboards or magazines or TV ads. So now this is the way it has been redeveloped. So this lesson goes all the way through big tobacco. And another question for the group, for the audience, is did you know how much money that the big tobacco companies spend each year targeting our youth? They actually spend $1 million every hour, every day, 365 days a year, 24/7. That's the estimate amount that they spend targeting our children through the ads, through the stickers at the convenience store, through all of the marketing and the colors and the influencers, the DJs, the rap artists, everybody that they pay to do their advertising through social media. It's crazy. The lesson 5 goes around the strengths, about stress and coping and wellness. and really focuses on how they could say no to their friends if they are presented with a tobacco product, and gives them real life lessons on how to develop those strengths and the courage and the leadership to be able to say no. And then the lesson 6 captures a little bit of information on the cannabis, because we are definitely finding more and more of this in each school. So that's at the high school level. When they go through these lessons, it gives, like I said, lots of different middle school, the versions and the dashboards and the learning objectives and the core standard lessons. Again, all of this is evidence-based and follows the curriculum based from the Department of Health and all of that. So we love that. I wanted to also ask a few questions and let you know that we do a lot of surveys with our high school students here in Howard County. And I wanted to ask a few questions of this too. For instance, do you know how many cigarettes equals one vape pod? The answer is 50. 50 cigarettes with that much nicotine, traditional cigarettes, which is, again, insane to me. So just to share that, I want to share that with you guys. Whoops. Can you see that? So this equals 1 pack of cigarettes equals 20 milligrams of nicotine, and the Juul pod equals 41 cigarettes. The Puff Bar, which is very popular with the youth today, equals 50 cigarettes, and the Sororan pod equals 90 cigarettes. So it just shows you another misconception is that all e-cigarettes don't always contain nicotine. In truth, they do contain nicotine. It's the nicotine salts. So these marketing companies can say they're tobacco-free products, but in all essence, they are built in a lab by engineers from Apple, and they created these e-cigarettes with all of this misconception. And again, this is not FDA regulated, so that's how they can get away so far with that misconception. Another question I like to ask everybody is, how many chemicals do you think are actually in an e-cigarette? Again and again, I hear from adults and from youth that all they think is it's harmless water vapors. And this is so untrue. It actually contains over 2,000 different chemicals, including nickel, just forgot them, and many others that are found in antifreeze, and found in chemicals to kill your bugs in your yard, all of those kinds of areas. And when we ask the youth how many times when was the last time that they used e-cigarettes, we have found that 1 in 8 youth between the ages of 14 to 18 are regularly using e-cigarettes. A lot of people don't think that it could happen to their youth or their high school or middle school student, when in all reality, if you ask them, they know lots of people in their friend group who are using these products. A lot of them you may not know or may not realize they smell like gum, or they smell like bubble gum, or they smell like popcorn, or a lot of teachers are thinking that they smell like hand lotion from Bath and Body Works. So there's all these different flavors and scents, and so they don't necessarily correlate that to the vapes and e-cigarettes. And when I asked the youth, again, as I was talking about the nicotine, the majority of students do not believe that these products contain nicotine, which is a huge misconception. And then I also asked if this synthetic nicotine, which is found in the e-cigarettes, is as harmful as traditional nicotine products, the old cigarettes. And a lot of them say no, they think it's not as harmful. And even as I talk to communities and groups in the Howard County area, a lot of people don't think of e-cigarettes as the same as traditional cigarettes. On intake forms at doctors' offices or different health providers, they'll say, do you smoke? And a lot of the clients and patients will say no. And then they have to ask a second question saying, but do you vape? And that always turns out to be a yes. So just to educate and get this started through the younger grades, with the middle school and the high school to help them realize that these are the same products. It's just old players with new products. It's old tobacco companies making the new products. Again, when we do the youth tobacco surveys, we do those every 2 years. We actually had 3 of our middle school and high schools here in Howard County selected for that across the whole state of Indiana. Most of the students say that they started vaping because they wanted to do vaping tricks to reduce stress or because their friends are doing it. So those are big coping skills that Reach and the group with Turning Point tries to combat, tries to dig deeper into with them through these lessons, and Stanford with giving them other solutions so they don't have to do that and how they can combat that. So this is, again, the curriculum that they will be using, and it's in condensed form, like I said, and they will have handouts and lessons to follow up with that. It increases their knowledge about the e-cigarettes, that they actually do cause harm. They gain awareness of the strategies that the manufacturers use to market to the adolescents, and they gain skills useful through experimentations that they actually have also. Ultimately, this is to reduce and prevent the e-cigarette use in any types, including the nicotine, the cannabis, the THC, and other non-nicotine products. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to have your feedback and let us know what you think of the materials. Thanks. Back to you, Bethany.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, this curriculum is awesome. It is so comprehensive. It's so well thought out. And I particularly appreciate that this curriculum really dives down into what the values are behind the choice to engage or to not engage in using nicotine and tobacco products. Like, the sustainability of it, the environmental impact of it, the impact on your body of it. These things are really important and crucial to helping anyone, but especially youth, understand the impact of their own behaviors and how to live their lives in alignment with what their values are. So I really like that aspect of the curriculum. So I just wanted to thank you all again so much for joining in today, and thank you to all of our developers and curriculum presenters for being here and sharing your curriculums. Just to recap, have a handout here. Let me share my screen. Have a handout to show you guys what the breakdown of the different curriculums are. Are you guys able to see my screen? So this is the elementary workshops here. So we've got the workshop that Allison presented on, which is Heroes Story Time, helping every child reach optimum success. And then these 3 are from Carla, and they are the Say What, Level Up Communication Skills. It shows you what the target grades are, as well as the competencies from those Indiana employability skills, standards and competencies, it's a mouthful, handout. And then moving from where I am to where I want to be, and building resiliency in a screen-driven world. So those are all of the elementary workshops being offered to the schools participating in this program. And then here we've got the middle and high school workshops, same layout as above. It shows you the target grades as well as the target competencies. These 3 are what Kalina had discussed, and then we're offering you and me together vape free to the middle school level as well as to the high school level. And here are the other high school curriculums that Kalina had developed. So I just wanted to show this to you all to help kind of contextualize and understand how these workshops are broken down and how each workshop is targeted to touch on a different competency and how these will be offered to your students. All right, so if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feedback in any capacity that you would like to share with me, please don't hesitate to scan the QR code and complete this brief survey. And here down at the bottom is my contact information. Again, my name is Bethany Wenger. I'm the school liaison at the Howard County Health Department. So you guys can reach out via phone, email, anything to let us know any thoughts or questions that you have. If you have questions for for any specific workshop developers or facilitators, you can send those to me and I will deliver them out to the developers and we'll get that information back to you guys. So go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. Again, thank you all so much. I appreciate your time and your commitment to moving this program forward with the schools. So thank you and have a great rest of your day.